Was that an episode of South Park, or was that actually the meeting between Trump and Zelensky at the White House? Here's a couple of takeaways that I got as a conservative American living in Ukraine and contracted in the Ukrainian military. Zelensky was very passionate, which I could see how that may come across as disrespectful towards Trump, although I didn't get that vibe from Zelensky necessarily. To me, Trump's portion of this interview was almost non-existent, considering he tried to stay unbiased on either side all the way through until really the end. With the exception of him reciting his typical catchphrases like the war would have never started if he was president, Biden was unfit to lead the country, and CNN's viewership numbers being so low that he thinks they're going to go out of business, which I generally agree with all of those statements. It just doesn't have to be reminded every single time you're in front of a camera. He really added no value to this interview, in my opinion. Then there's JD Vance, who I actually used to like prior to the last couple of weeks' interviews and narratives about Ukraine. He was extremely out of line with the way that he attacked Zelensky. Like, if Zelensky would have reached over and punched him in the throat, JD Vance in the throat, I would have been like, yeah, okay, that was warranted. Because if somebody spoke to me in that kind of a condescending tone, while I've been busting my ass for the last 3 years trying to protect my country, dude, I would have Batista bombed his ass into a pile of broken glass. It's like JD Vance thought he needed to protect Trump or something. And then after JD piped off, then Trump got big and bad, and then they were both just ganging up on Zelensky, making statements like, you should be grateful, and have you even said thank you to Zelensky, as if Vance and Trump have been hand delivering these American supplies and weapons to the Ukrainian front lines themselves is absurd. I can go on and on, man, but that was crazy. If there's one positive that came out of this, I'm hoping this is the case, is that our European allies watched that. They were as embarrassed as all of us watching it were. They realized the U.S. is no longer on Ukraine's side, and they need to step up their game and help.